Title: Fish kills and stinking fields. Is Tasmania overloaded with industrial rubbish? Residents and environmental authorities are expressing concern over the land spreading of industrial waste in Tasmania's Plenty Valley. A paper mill sends trucks carrying waste products to a property in the valley, where the waste is mixed with waste from the salmon farming industry and sewage sludge to create compost. However, much of the waste is being dumped onto nearby paddocks and not properly managed, leading to concerns about water quality and toxic leachate entering the soil. In 2020, a fish kill occurred in the nearby river due to hazardous materials allegedly being spilled from the property. The Environmental Protection Authority has since issued an environmental protection notice prohibiting the spreading of waste on land which slopes towards the river. The incident raises concerns about how industrial waste is being managed in Tasmania. Title: Report finds 88% of young families in mortgage stress, as rental stress hits nearly 2 million households. A new report from research firm Digital Finance Analytics (DFA) has found that financial stress is at an all-time high. The report, which has been tracking income and debt from a rolling sample of roughly 52,000 households since 2001, shows that 88% of young families are in mortgage stress, and nearly 2 million rental households are spending more than they earn. DFA principal Martin North warns that the situation is creating a perfect storm in regional Australia. The rise in inflation has also seen the Reserve Bank of Australia increase interest rates to 4.1%, the highest since 2012. Hashtags: Cheap waterfront properties for sale at Coran Cove near the Gold Coast have an important detail missing in their real estate ads. Properties do not have access to power and water, but this is not being advertised. Real estate agents claim they have been informing interested parties of the positives and negatives of buying into the body corporate scheme once an inquiry has been made. The resort has been embroiled in legal disputes due to essential services being disconnected because of a long-standing feud involving the 5 body corporates that control the resort. The real estate advertisements need to expressly state that utilities have been disconnected. Title: SA Budget 2023 focuses on health, housing, and cost of living relief. South Australia's state budget for 2023 focuses on addressing the challenges of health, housing, and cost of living relief. The government's second budget aims to prioritise the bread and butter needs of its residents with a $249 million deficit. Highlights of the budget include $500 cash payments for 420,000 households and 86,000 small businesses to help with power bills, upgrades to schools, public roads and speed cameras, and funding for the Child Protection Department to expand and improve services. The government has also committed to addressing the rental crisis and housing shortage. Overall, the SA budget is geared towards providing relief to the people who need it the most. EU agrees on draft AI rules including ban on facial recognition surveillance. The European Union (EU) has taken a step closer to passing the world's first comprehensive AI laws after EU politicians agreed to draft AI rules that include a blanket ban on using the technology in biometric surveillance and predictive policing systems. The EU Commission's proposed landmark laws are designed to set a global standard for protecting people from the technology. The new AI rules, among other things, want to ban any intrusive and discriminatory uses of AI systems and the indiscriminate scraping of facial images from social media or CCTV footage to create facial recognition databases. Collectors campaign to keep 111-year-old tractor in Australia. Vintage tractor enthusiasts are campaigning against the export of a 1912 International Titan Model D, which they say has significant cultural heritage value. The tractor has been approved for export by federal authorities, but collectors say the decision should be reversed. The Protection of Movable Cultural Heritage Act has been cited as the basis for the campaign to stop the tractor from leaving the country. John Edgar, a collector from Victoria, has requested a parliamentary inquiry into the Cultural Heritage Department, which he says no longer represents the interests of Australians. The case is reminiscent of the MacDonald EB saga, where a vintage tractor was wrongly exported, recently repatriated, and is now on display at the National Museum in Canberra. Title: Super payout delays spike amid increased cost of living. Complaints about delays in superannuation claims handling have surged, according to the Australian Financial Complaints Authority (AFCA). The Financial Ombudsman said that there were 1,575 complaints from June 1, 2022, to May 31, 2023, up 24% compared to the previous year. Delays are due to administrative changes, complexity of claims, and lack of resources, among other things. The Association of Superannuation Funds of Australia reported that less than 1% of the approximately 190,000 claims made resulted in complaints. Experts suggest that the increase in complaints could be attributed to tougher economic circumstances, which make accessing payments urgent. Hashtags. Title: Malmesbury Youth Justice Centre to shut down, but staff express concerns. After years of issues, including assaults, riots, and escapes, the Malmesbury Youth Justice Centre in Victoria will close at the end of the year. However, some staff members are concerned about the impacts of the closure on their financial stability. The Community Public Sector Union said a large number of the 240 staff will not be eligible for financial assistance. The union is taking the Department of Justice to Fair Work over the financial assistance eligibility. Former employee CJ claims that the facility had deteriorated over the years due to mismanagement, regular assaults, and understaffing. Advocates say that the youth justice system needs reform. Title: Forecast huge swells prompt warnings for sightseers, excitement for surfers on WA coast. Visitors and surfers are being cautioned to take extra care, while waves as high as 8 metres are expected to batter communities along the southern coast of Western Australia today. The Bureau of Meteorology (BOM) has predicted a 7 to 8 metres swell between Augusta and Albany as a low-pressure system in the Southern Ocean heads eastwards. In addition, the cold front is expected to bring rain and gusty weather to most of Western Australia's south. Although the large swell is exciting for surfers, the Albany Sea Rescue Squad has warned individuals not to venture out on the water in such conditions. Title: Researchers call for national strategy to fix Australia's housing crisis. Australia needs a national strategy to fix the country's housing crisis, according to a new report by the Australian Housing and Urban Research Institute (AHURI). Researchers argue that decades of poor housing policies and fragmented responsibilities between levels of government have led to the current crisis. The report calls for an ambitious national project to address every area of housing policy and finance 950,000 social and affordable rental dwellings by 2041. The report also highlights the need for a new appreciation that people in a civilized society have a right to adequate housing. It suggests that new federal legislation, federal agencies, and government leadership are required. Title: 98-year-old golf enthusiast Isabel Sutherland keeps fit and active. Isabel Sutherland, a 98-year-old woman from Hobart, Tasmania, is an avid golfer who plays 2 rounds of golf a week, covering around 7 kilometers each time. She claims that playing golf is what keeps her fit and active. Isabel, who was born and raised in Scotland, moved to Australia in 1958 and only took up golf in the 1980s. Isabel has proved the benefits of regular exercise to maintain a healthy lifestyle. She recently had a fall but recovered quickly, and the doctor attributed it to her fitness. Isabel is an inspiration to everyone, and she recommends golf to people who seek to maintain a healthy and fun lifestyle. Title: Discover the best of rural Australia at Farmfield Days with FarmFest at the helm. Description: As the winter Farmfield Day season kicks off, FarmFest, Queensland's largest Farmfield Day, attracts farmers and their families with a vast array of agricultural technology, livestock competitions, and free merchandise. Many visitors come away inspired and with new ideas after seeing the latest and greatest farming innovations on display. For those who have never attended, think of it as an outdoor hardware and supermarket hybrid, where visitors can purchase everything from a silo to a $1 million tractor. The event also serves as a meeting place for rural Australia, with non-profit organisations on hand to provide support and assistance to farmers in need. Publication date: Wednesday, 14 June 2023. 22 hours 31 minutes and 15 seconds plus 0000 link, hashtags. 5-star resort for Great Barrier Reef coral open for business in Cairns. The Forever Reef Project Living Coral Biobank has opened, providing an insurance policy for the world's coral and protecting hundreds of species from extinction. The biobank can make live coral fragments, tissue samples, and genetic material available for reef research and restoration efforts. The state-of-the-art John Rumney Biobank aims to collect the 400 or so coral species on the Great Barrier Reef. It currently has about 45% of that in its holding facility, and is seeking $500,000 from donors to gather the rest. Owner of Cairns Aquarium, Daniel Liepnik, said, "Conserving and saving corals is key." Title: How Walter McKeith's letters helped change Australia's gun laws. Australia's Port Arthur massacre remains the deadliest mass shooting in the country's modern history. Walter McCarts lost his wife and 2 daughters in the attack. However, within 9 days of the tragedy, McCarts sent a letter to then Prime Minister John Howard, urging him to change Australia's gun laws. McKeith's letter helped Howard gain support for the National Firearms Agreement, which banned semi-automatic rifles and shotguns and made it harder to obtain a gun license. The correspondence between the two men continued, with McCarts expressing his disappointment at anyone opposing the gun control measures. These letters give insight into a defining moment in Australia's history. Man who found jigsaw piece that reignited search for WA couple hopeful police can finish the job. A family friend who found a garment near the disused mineshaft where the remains of Raymond Kellett were located 8 years ago has sparked a fresh search for clues. The search, undertaken by the police, comes after concerns were raised about the way the initial investigation was handled and uncovered by an ABC background briefing earlier this year. Rick, the family friend, said is hopeful his work might lead police towards finding answers to the family's questions they've been asking since April 2015. WA coroner Ross Foliani found in 2021 that Raymond's death was a homicide and his wife Jenny was most likely deceased. Title: Harvard Medical School morgue manager and wife among alleged body part thieves. A manager at the Harvard Medical School morgue and his wife are among 5 people charged with stealing donated body parts and selling them online. The group stole dissected parts of human remains from the School for Education and Research between 2018 and early 2023. The parts, including heads, brains, skin, and bones, were taken without the school's knowledge and sold to buyers through phone and social media calls or mailed. The defendants face conspiracy and interstate transport of stolen goods charges, with a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison, supervised release, and a fine. Title: Senator David Van confirms office move after complaint by Senator Lydia Thorpe. Liberal Senator David Van confirmed that he moved offices after a complaint by Senator Lydia Thorpe in 2021, in which she accused him of making her feel uncomfortable. Speaking to 9 Radio, Senator Van denied any claims of sexual harassment or assault from Senator Thorpe, but said he took up an offer to move offices further away from her following the complaint. Senator Thorpe is expected to give a statement to the chamber later today. Senator Van encouraged her to take any allegations to the police instead of hiding behind parliamentary privilege. NT's troubled overpass cost based on 1980s designs, amid $100 million blowout. The cost of the road overpass project in Darwin, which has spiraled to $165 million, is based on plans from the 1980s, according to the Infrastructure NT Commissioner. The project, located at the intersection of Tiger Brennan Drive and Berrima Road, was initially announced to cost $61.5 million in 2021 and has since faced several cost blowouts. The government released the original price tag, not revealing the outdated plans for the overpass. Construction company Sitzler won the early works tender and was also awarded the Stage 2 tender for major construction in a select tender process. Funding for the intersection is split between the federal and territory governments, as part of a road safety initiative. Mummy reportedly dating back 3,000 years unearthed in Peru. Archaeologists from San Marcos University in Lima have discovered a mummy that dates back 3,000 years. The mummy was found in a pre-Hispanic burial and is believed to belong to the Manche culture that developed in the valleys of Lima between 1500 and 1000 BCE. Objects such as bottlenecks, corn, coca leaves, and seeds were buried with the body, which experts believe may have been part of an offering. The mummy was discovered by students and researchers during an excavation at the Huacala, Florida archaeological site in the central Rímac Valley. Russia's new embassy lease cancelled by Australian government. The Australian government has introduced a bill in Parliament to cancel a lease held by the Russian Federation for a new embassy adjacent to Parliament House. The decision was made following advice from national security agencies that the site would present a clear security risk. The lease would have allowed Russia to establish a formal diplomatic presence close to the heart of Australian democracy. The bill passed through the House of Representatives quickly and will now need to be approved by the Senate. The cancellation of the lease is necessary to protect Australia's national security interests, according to Home Affairs Minister Clare O'Neil. Tribunal approves council rates hikes in New South Wales amidst cost of living pressure. The Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal (IPART) has granted special permission for 17 local governments in New South Wales to exceed previously set caps on price increases. 4 councils, including Strathfield and Lithgow, were granted rate increases above 35% for the coming financial year alone. IPART weighed cost of living stress against the risk of losing services, leading to the approval of 14 of the 17 councils that applied to exceed limits. The council rate increases have been approved for steep hikes due to cost of living pressure on ratepayers. IPART has called on the state government to investigate the financial model for local councils to make them more financially sustainable without relying on substantial rate increases. Title: Gustav Klimt's Dame Mit Wacker to be auctioned in London. Austrian artist Gustav Klimt's final masterpiece, Dame Mit Wacker, is expected to fetch up to $121 million at an upcoming Sotheby's auction in London. The oil-on-canvas painting depicts an unnamed woman and is part of a private collection. Sotheby's London chairman, Thomas Boyd Bowman, described the portrait as a technical tour de force full of boundary-pushing experimentation. The auction is set to take place on June 27 and could make Dame Mit Wacker the most expensive painting ever sold in Europe. Title: A stunning discovery for astrobiology, key building block of life found on Saturn's moon Enceladus. Researchers have discovered high concentrations of phosphorus in ice crystals spewed from the interior ocean of Saturn's moon Enceladus. This discovery adds to its potential to harbor life because phosphorus is fundamental to the structure of DNA and a vital part of cell membranes. The discovery of this essential mineral was based on data collected by NASA's Cassini spacecraft. The spacecraft gathered its data during passes through a plume of ice crystals itself and through the same material that feeds Saturn's faint E ring with icy particles outside the planet's brighter main rings. Enceladus has become a prime candidate in the search for habitable places in our solar system beyond Earth that are habitable. Title: Wallabies star Kurtley Beale pleads not guilty to sexual assault. Rugby union player Kurtley Beale has pleaded not guilty to sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel bathroom in Sydney's East. He has been charged with 3 sexual offences, and 1 charge has been dropped. Beale spoke outside the court, stating his innocence and saying he was devastated to be here. He will now stand trial on 2 counts of sexually touching another person without consent and 1 count of sexual intercourse without consent. The incident is said to have occurred at the Beach Road Hotel in Bondi on December 17, 2022. Beale is a veteran of more than 90 games for the Wallabies. Police search for 10-year-old girl missing for more than a week. Police in Australia are searching for 10-year-old Brianna Horston, who has been missing from Albury, on the New South Wales-Victoria border, for over a week. Brianna was last seen on Parnell Street in Lavington on Wednesday, June 7. Police were notified 5 days later and have been investigating since. Brianna is described as being of Caucasian appearance, of thin build, with red hair and blue eyes. Police and family members are concerned for her safety. Anyone with information is urged to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Title: Polish women march against anti-abortion laws after pregnant woman's death. Abortion rights activists marched in Poland, protesting against the country's strict anti-abortion laws, after a 33-year-old pregnant woman named Dorota died of septic shock in May. Many protesters carried placards with slogans such as "We want doctors, not missionaries" and "Stop killing us." Poland's nationalist government implemented a constitutional court ruling in 2021, banning terminations of pregnancies with fetal defects, resulting in mass protests. Activists claim that at least 5 pregnant women have died because of the restrictions on abortion. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki has denied these allegations, while abortion rights supporters continue to call for change. Title: Hillsong founder accused of putting church reputation above justice for sexual abuse victim. Hillsong founder Brian Houston has been accused of protecting the church's reputation and not reporting his father's sexual abuse of a young boy to authorities. Houston has pleaded not guilty to concealing the abuse, which his father, Frank Houston, admitted to in 1999. The prosecution argued that Brian Houston had a reasonable excuse for not reporting the abuse and instead elevated the matter to the church's national executive. The court heard that there was a culture within Hillsong to protect the church's reputation, and that Houston knew he could control the narrative by not telling the national executive about the victim's desire to go to authorities. Unemployment falls as nearly 76,000 extra jobs created. Unemployment in Australia has surprisingly fallen back to 3.6% as an estimated 75,900 jobs were added to the economy. Official jobs data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics (ABS) show strong figures that came as a shock to economists who were expecting 15,000 jobs to be added last month, keeping the unemployment rate steady at 3.7%. Hours worked fell 1.8% in May, but that followed a 2.7% jump in April. Bjorn Jarvis from the ABS said that even though hours worked fell in the latest month, their strength since late 2022, relative to employment growth, shows the demand for labor in a tight market is being met.